So welcome to 6th grade math. Woohoo! Miss Donahue, this is the first lesson of the year. And first I'm going to start out by just kind of showing a few things to parents and then start out the real lesson. But I'm just kind of starting out. Today is Monday, the 13th of August. And so I'm starting out by just kind of showing that when your children are walking in, the first thing I have them do on a Monday is to write down all their homework in their agenda. If they didn't have an agenda, I asked them to do it on a piece of notebook paper. They can either put it in their red folder, or this piece of paper, if they did it on paper, can put it in their math notebook. The second thing we have asked them to do today is turn in their signed syllabus or their signed multiplication test. Each class is a little different. 7th and 8th period will get them this afternoon, but they are hopefully going to start showing you their multiplication test that was timed on Thursday and get those signed and back into me. Okay, on a normal day, this is where my lesson would start. We usually walk in and you will have a math workshop. The math workshop is for the week. And it goes behind the Math Workshop tab in your binder. The key is behind the tab. You might want to check your kids' binders and make sure tabs have been made correctly. The 3 tabs in their binder should be Math Workshop, which I have told them they can call it MW. The second tab in their binder is Notes, and I called it Classwork Homework. It's basically just going to be all their regular math papers, lessons of what we're learning in class. And the third tab that they should have is Graded Papers. And this will just be where they get all their graded papers. And I told them they could call it GP if they wanted. Okay. I pass back graded papers. I try to pass them back within a day or two, guys. So you should just keep them all 9 weeks. You want to keep all these papers all 9 weeks. And then basically when you get report cards, we clean out the binder and start over fresh. Okay. So it's not like your binder's going to be super thick. We're going to clean them out. Okay. So, when you walk in, you will normally work on your math workshop. What I do is I have it up here and I'll have it highlighted what numbers to do. Okay? This is my 3rd period class, so that's why I wrote 3rd up there for my name. Okay? Now, you all have had a little bit of time to work on it, so what I'm going to do now is go over the answers. You want to check these things. Right now, it's just a review of add, subtract, multiply. The reason you want to check them is right here, and there's some big words. It says you will have a test on these topics at the end of the 9 weeks. This is why we wanted it in one tab. So at the end of the 9 weeks, when you have a test on it, it's the topic. So it's the topic of addition. It's the topic of subtraction. But you would take all these math workshop papers and you would go through and go over them or whatever. So, okay, now I'm going to start working these out. Here we go. Sometimes you all will work them out. Sometimes I work them out. I'm going to try to go a little faster now or let you check them. So here we go. So number 1. Now, you did not have to work it out my way. I kind of do things the old way or the old algorithm way, kind of called standard, okay? I stack them on top of each other, lining up that one's place value. So I got 23,469 on the first one. Is everybody good on that one? Okay, so now check number 2. Number 2 is subtraction, and I do it the old style of borrowing. I had a child in my last class who did some really neat stuff with changing this to 2,999. That is fine. If you have a different method, I do not mind at all. Just show me how you did it. By showing your work, like I did here, that is my way of getting in what I call your brain to figure out how you did it, okay? So, I know I can't do 0 minus 9. I can't borrow from that 0 or that 0, so I'm going to borrow from the 3. Make it a 2 and make that a 10. Well, I still can't do 0 minus 9, so I got to borrow from the 10, make it a 9, and make that a 10. Now, I still can't do 0 minus 9, but I'm going to borrow from this 10. At least he is now a 9, and that 0 can finally be a 10. So I got 10 minus 9 is 1, 9 minus 8 is 1, 9 minus 2 is 7, and I have bring down the 2. Okay, so this is just a review. Like, are we good on add and subtract? How can we check that subtraction problem? Especially because subtraction has we usually make some mistakes sometimes in subtraction.
You can add it.
Yes, we can add what 2 numbers?
Your answer and what you minus.
You got it. We can add these 2 together, and we should get the top number. Listen, subtraction. I've been doing this a long time. You want to check subtraction. I know it sounds kind of goofy, but I find the most mistakes on subtraction. And everybody's usually they're off by only 1 or 2. So you want to take the numbers like 289, especially if it's a test. If it's a 100-point test, guys, and this thing is worth 10 points, check it. Make sure that it is that number. You don't want to miss it just because you didn't check it. Okay, we can add. We can all add. Okay, so that is number 1 and 2 on Math Workshop. Number 3, starting a little word problem, even though it's not hard. Says there are 24 students in each math class. How many total students are there if there are 4 math teachers? What operation do we use and why? What should we use? Oh, I don't have his hands up. What should we use? Multiplication. You got it. And the reason we should use it's why? It's just what?
It's because there's 24 students in each math class, so you multiply 24 times 4.
You got it. That's right. And it's just easier, isn't it? I mean, to me, we should use multiplication. To me, it's quicker. It's easier. You don't have to. I mean, you can add 24 4 times. But to me, it's just quicker. So I kind of messed that up. I'm going to kind of do that. So I got 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. So I got 96 students. You got it. 96 students. Okay. Are we good on kind of how Math Workshop works? Tomorrow you'll walk in. I might highlight 1. I might highlight 2. Just got to kind of look up here when you come in. Okay. So click this. Open up that binder behind Math Workshop and put this behind Math Workshop. Click it behind Math Workshop. Literally pull that tab and click it behind Math Workshop. Okay. Okay. Now today, our first real math lesson. It's kind of silly because today is only add, subtract, multiply. We know it. We know it. We've got to review it just one day. Because tomorrow we're doing division. So, I need you to have out or to get out one piece of paper, and we are going to take, I call it notes, but it's not really notes. It's just a few words, a few definitions. And I will show you exactly how to label this thing, okay? You will see that as I get going this year, but I usually label everything. I tell you exactly what to write on the top of it. Today's is notes. You can call it classwork, homework. I mean, it's the same thing. And I usually put the date, so you know what day it is. Okay. And I usually put the class period in case you guys, like, if you were absent or something and you say, Miss Donahue, what did we do yesterday? I keep this little bucket down here, and I keep all of them. And that way I can pull it out and say, oh, you're my third period. This is what we did third period. We usually are doing the same thing. The only difference is every once in a while, I might just do different examples. So, just a different math problem, okay? Okay, so today, because it's the very first day, we got to start with a few vocabulary words. They're not hard, okay? You've known them for a long time. But we got to start out with just a few words. Okay. Math vocabulary, I promise. They're short and sweet. I keep them short and sweet. So the first one is the word sum. Put the door open. And the word sum means the result of adding. That's going to be the key word there. Two terms. The result of adding two terms. Result to me meaning answer. Like when we add two numbers, we get something called a sum. And then the big word is adding. Okay? And you don't have to highlight. I mean, you can if you want. That's just something the teacher does a lot of. You'll,
Kind of like cause and effect.
yes. Yes, totally. Okay. And we don't do vocab every day, guys. It's just because it's the beginning of a unit. I promise. Okay. Okay, the second thing, because we know adding. I know that because we just did it on Math Workshop. Okay. The second word is difference. And I know you know this too. Okay. This definition is almost the same thing, but it's the result of subtracting two terms. Okay. The result of subtracting. That's the key there. We want to subtract two terms. They're not too long. We try to do short definitions in math, you know, and most of the notes we do in math are math problems. It's just the first day. And the last one for today is product. And I bet you know product. It is the result of multiplying. It's the answer to a multiplication problem. And I will say, we do definitions on tests and quizzes. Sometimes they are like actual words and you match them. Sometimes it's just like a math problem, you know. Is that good so far? Okay. Now the only other thing we're going to do today is just practice. We're just going to practice a few add, subtract, multiply problems. I'm going to write them horizontally or across the paper. If you want to stack them on top of each other, that's fine. The only reason I am doing them horizontally is just because we got to make sure you know how to do that. Okay, so like the first one here, even though we already did one on Math Workshop, easy breezy, here we go. 2,349 plus 489. I'll move it up just a little bit. So see if you can work that one out. And then I'm going to do number 2, a subtraction. Yes, and I will say this. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, years ago, when I put commas in here where they're supposed to be, between the hundreds and thousands, I would have kids who kind of thought they were ones. So you will see me leave off. I don't always put commas because I've had so many kids say, well, I thought that was 21,349.
How do you think?
I don't know.
A one could be that small?
I don't know. So a lot of times in math problems, I'll just leave them off. But sometimes I put them. So, okay. Everybody good?
No.
Not yet. Okay, that's okay. Go ahead and work out this one. And work out that one. Yeah, you can be working them out. There we go. Is that good? Okay. And the good thing about videoing, guys, I know that this is probably your first year you'll have a video lesson, but you can go back and watch it and just make sure you have everything I have. The cool thing is you can fast forward through it. So if you know you got all the vocab, but maybe, you missed the last couple problems or something, right now it's not super important because you all know mostly how to add, subtract, and multiply. But when we get into weird stuff, new stuff like statistics that maybe you've never done, the video lesson might help you. It might be something you want to look at. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to do these two problems real quick. Shouldn't be too bad because it's just adding and subtracting. Notice, just like I said during Math Workshop, we are lining up the ones place value. I'm assuming we all are good lining up the two nines. I got 18. So my answer I have is 2,838. Everybody good on that one? 2,838. Okay, we'll do number 2 now. Same thing with subtraction, lining up the ones place and the tens place, lining it up by place value. 6 minus 5 is 1. I'm going to borrow from the 9, make it an 8, and make that a 10. Now I can borrow from the 10, make it a 9, and make that a 14. So 14 minus 8 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. And then bring down the 8. So I got 8,161. Listen. There. Just result in adding. You got it. Result in subtracting. and then results in multiplying. And listen, highlighting's not a big deal. That's up to you. You don't have to do that. Okay, so the last thing I want to make sure we know about, we did one problem that had, in the math workshop, it was multiplying. It had one number on the bottom because we did times 4. Make sure, let's just real quick refresh our brains on a problem like this. What if you had 247 times 68? Like if you had a math problem like this, 247 times 68. Try that one, and let's make sure we remember to put a placeholder or place value holder, or put a 0 on that second line. Listen, we can't be worried about, this is third period and it is snack time. Listen, but we can't be worried about it like the whole class period. But yes, you may eat snack while I finish this up. Be checking your work. You have to keep, with it being math class, we got to keep our attention at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to show this number 3 working out. Okay, so the first number to multiply is by 8. So I'm going to do 7 times 8 is 56. 8 times 4 is 32. Plus 5 is 37. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 3 is 19. Now, the part I'm talking about a placeholder is right here. Yes. Yes, we got to add that placeholder. Now listen, Miss Donahue's weird. She colors them in. That way you don't, I've had a lot of kids who thought they were a 0, like I multiplied and got the 0. So I try to color in my placeholders so y'all know it's a placeholder and not the number 30 and I put a 0. So, here we go. 6 times 7, 42. I'm going to carry the 4. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 4 is 28. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. If I add all this up, I got 16,796. Okay. So that's just the end of notes for today. That is what, just kind of reviewing. You can now see why multiplication skills are so important. We got to know them. Okay? Here's the plan. Okay, tonight's homework is a worksheet that looks like this. It is not hard, but you're going to it's 6 problems, so just really spread out. Okay? You are doing 1 through 6. You can do it right now, which I'd love for you to get started on it. You can do it during order time, lunch class, I think about what it's called. But if parents ask to see it tonight, listen, and you are already done with it, that is not a big deal. Just show it to them and say, hey, I got it finished in order time, but feel free to check it, okay? I would love for them to check it. I would love for them to look over it, okay? I will say, you've got to show your work. It's math class. That's just the way it works. So show me math problems. I think parents would understand if I say this, but if you just bring a bunch of answers in, I honestly either think you cheated off a calculator or you cheated off a friend. Okay? I know that sounds horrible to say, but, that's just the way math teachers think. So, you will literally take, it's not hard, this is Mondays, okay? You can fill in the class period if you'd like, and you just work it out. Work out number 1. There's number 2 and 3. Just right here, 4. We just spread them out so y'all would have plenty of room. And 5 and 6. So, I'm trying to show you the whole worksheet now in case you want to see it. But there's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. I grade homework 2 different ways. One is with just participation to see if you did all 6. And then the other is correct answers. I usually do correct answers every couple days, and we literally grade to see if they're right or wrong. I don't do it every day, especially if it's a new topic that we have just done. Okay? You may clean up. You're good to go when you get it all together. So, basically, my last class had to leave, and so I'm going to use the last few seconds here, if anybody's actually watching this video, of showing my website. Some of the kids have already seen it, some I might have forgotten. If you go to Thompson 6th Grade Center's website, and you go to faculty and staff, and go down to teachers, okay, this is the directory of all the teachers at the 6th Grade Center. And I'm going to say that we use it all the time. In the middle school world, the teachers were pretty much required to use it and all that good stuff. When you click on View My Website, there are some important things here. One is the homework calendar. Now, in just a little bit, I will update this calendar with this week's homework. But normally if you click on it, it will show you, if I know how to work it, it'll show you the actual lesson. There it is, the description of what's going on. It'll have the homework listed, it'll have the page numbers and all that good stuff. Okay, the other good thing that some kids may not know about yet is the button for reminds. Please sign up for Remind if you've not signed up. You would text 81010, and then for the actual message, it would be at H Donahue, so HDONAHOO, and these will come straight to however you get text messaging. As you can see, these are some that I've already sent, starting back on August the 8th, and tonight I'll send some more, okay, or you can hit sign up for Remind down here at the bottom of the screen, okay. I didn't send a Remind last night because not all my classes got their multiplication test. But like tonight, I'll send out one that says this is the homework. Don't forget to get the syllabus signed, the multiplication test signed. But anybody can sign up for Remind, and it's just very helpful. But you can also look at the school website. Thank you. That is it for today, and they normally aren't this long except for their math lessons. So, let's see if we can stop this thing.